The royal starship floated through the peaceful Nabari sector, its silver wings shining under the twin suns. Inside the ship, Princess Varela of the Zelari Empire walked through the long glass halls. Her violet skin shimmered, and her golden eyes sparkled with curiosity. She was only 12 years old, but her mind was sharp and her heart brave. She looked out the window and saw the colorful clouds of space dust glowing like magic. This was her first time traveling to a peace meeting, with her mother, Queen Zalera. But the queen had stayed behind due to a sudden emergency, sending Varela with her royal guards instead. Captain Rizek, her chief bodyguard, walked beside her. "Princess," he said in a calm voice, "we will reach the meeting point in 2 hours. Everything is clear." Varela nodded. "Thank you, Captain. I like these stars. They feel ... kind." But the stars were not kind that day. Suddenly alarms began to ring. Red lights flashed in every room. Ship shook as something hit it from outside. "Attackers!" shouted a guard. "Pirates! They're jamming communications." Captain Rizek pulled out his blaster. "Protect the princess." The sky outside turned black with enemy ships. These were Void Raiders, dangerous criminals who lived in the dark corners of the galaxy. And fast ships, sharp weapons, and no mercy. The royal guards tried to fight, but they were outnumbered. Explosions rocked the ship. One by one, guards fell. Captain Rizek fought like a warrior, but a laser hit his chest. He fell near the princess, blood on his armor. "Run," he gasped. "Find the escape pod." Varela's eyes filled with tears, but she obeyed. She ran through smoke-filled halls, past fallen guards, and reached the escape pod room. But it was too late. 2 raiders kicked down the door. They were tall, armored, and wore metal masks. One grabbed her arm roughly. "Look what we have here," he growled. "The royal brat. Let me go." Varela shouted, trying to fight. The other raider laughed. "The queen will pay a high price to get her little jewel back." They dragged her onto their ship. Behind her, the royal vessel burned and broke. Into pieces, far away, in the Zalari capital, Queen Zalara sat in her throne room. She wore a golden crown, her long silver robe trailing behind her. Her face, usually calm and strong, now twisted in pain. A soldier knelt before her. "Your Majesty, we lost contact with the princess's ship. We found debris. We believe ... she was taken." The queen stood slowly. Her voice was cold and heavy. "Taken, yes, my queen. We suspect the Void Raiders." Zalera clenched her fists. Her golden eyes burned with fury. "Prepare the fleet. No one touches my daughter and lives." But even the royal fleet could not find her. The raiders had disappeared into the dark, on a distant space station. Far from royal palaces and warships, a human man named Jack Mason fixed an engine with oil-covered hands. He wore a dirty brown jacket, torn gloves, and a patch on his shoulder. With the Earth flag, though almost no one remembered Earth anymore, Jack was tall, with short black hair and eyes like ice. He had once been a soldier, a good one. But after the last war, he left the battlefield. Now he worked on broken ships for cheap money. As he wiped his hands, he looked up at a hologram playing in the workshop. A news drone floated in the air. "Princess Varela of Zalari, age 12, has been kidnapped by unknown raiders. Queen Zalara promises revenge. Reward of 10 million credits is offered for her safe return." Jack turned it off. He stared at the wall for a long moment. He remembered a little girl from years ago. She had been caught in a war zone, crying beside a burning house. He had failed to save her. That memory still haunted him. Jack stood up slowly. He walked to a locked box under his bed. He opened it. Inside was an old helmet, a worn-out armor suit, and a plasma rifle. He took a deep breath. One last mission. The Void Raiders had taken Princess Varela to a prison asteroid called Black Fang Rock. It was cold, dark, and full of metal cages. The guards were cruel and loud. They laughed when she cried. They threw food on the floor and told her she would never see her mother again. But Varela was not weak. Each day she studied the guards. She listened to their codes, and watched their patrols. Her mother had taught her how to stay strong. She promised herself, "I will not give up. I am a princess. I am Zelari." In her small cell, she found a broken panel. She started working on it with sharp stones. She could send a signal. ... Back on the space station, Jack sat in his tiny ship. It was old, slow, and had many dents. But it still flew. He called it the Iron Sparrow. He checked his map. The location of Blackfang Rock had been passed around in whispers on the black market. He had traded his best tools to get at Jack, started the engines. The ship shook, but lifted. "Hang on, kid," he muttered, coming, as the stars stretched before him. He felt something he hadn't felt in years. Purpose. Jack reached the outer edge of the asteroid belt after 3 days. The sky was full of floating rocks, some the size of cities. He turned off his lights and went quiet. "Time to be sneaky," he whispered. A small drone came close. An enemy scout. The drone sparked and died. Then he flew slowly into the dark. Blackfang Rock appeared like a monster in space, sharp and full of steel spikes. Jack landed his ship in a hidden crack on the side. He suited up and loaded his old rifle. The armor still fit, though it was tight. Inside the base, he crawled through vents, avoiding cameras and guards. He placed small shock traps at key points. Then he saw her. Through a vent, he saw the girl, sitting in a metal cell, drawing something on the floor with her finger. She looked tired, but her eyes still had fire. Jack whispered through the vent, "Hey, princess." Virella jumped. She looked around. "Down here," he said softly. She crawled to the vent. "Were you?" "Jack Mason. Human. I'm here too. Rescue you." Her eyes narrowed. "A human? Why would you help me?" Jack gave a small smile. "Because you're a kid, and kids shouldn't be in cages." Virella stared at him, then slowly nodded. "Okay, I need you to be ready. We leave in 5 minutes." "I'm ready now." Jack broke the vent and pulled her out. She was light, but fast. He gave her a small energy shield and said, "Stay behind me." As they moved through the halls, alarms suddenly rang out. "Intruder alert." Jack swore. "Time to run." Jack fired stun shots, knocking them out. Virella used her shield to block lasers. They made it to the hangar. But enemy ships were already flying in. Jack shouted, "Get in the ship." They ran up the ramp and into the Iron Sparrow.
Ouch.
Jack hit the engine switch. The ship roared and took off, smashing through the hangar door. Lasers chased them through space. Virella looked scared, but Jack was calm. "I've flown through worse," he said. "Just hold on." The stars stretched again. They were out. But danger still followed. Enemy ships had locked onto them. Jack looked at the radar and frowned. "They won't stop." Virella looked at him. "What now?" Jack checked the fuel and smiled. "Now we get clever." Behind it, 3 enemy ships chased like wolves. Their red lasers burned through space, barely missing the tail of Jack's ship. Inside, Jack Mason sat in the pilot's seat. His hands moved quickly over the old controls. The screen blinked with warnings, shields low, engines overheating. The ship shook again. Behind him, Princess Virella held onto her seat tightly. Her golden eyes were wide, but she didn't cry. She was scared, but not weak. "They're still following us," she shouted. Jack nodded. "Yeah, they don't give up easy." "What do we do?" Jack smiled a little. "We trick them." He pressed a few buttons. The ship suddenly turned down into a thick asteroid field. Huge rocks floated everywhere. Some spun slowly. Some crashed into each other. The enemy ships followed. Jack flew close to the asteroids, moving between narrow gaps. The Iron Sparrow was small and light. It moved like a bird. The enemy ships were bigger. One crashed into a rock. The second scratched its wing. The third kept chasing. "Almost there," Jack said. He flew into a dust cloud, thick gray space fog made from tiny frozen crystals. The ship became nearly invisible. Jack shut off the engine. The ship floated quietly. He turned to Varela. Don't move. Don't breathe too loud. The girl nodded and sat still. The enemy ship stopped nearby, its lights searching the fog. It moved slowly, then turned around and left. Jack let out a breath. We made it. Varela smiled. That was amazing. Jack grinned. That was dumb luck. They stayed hidden in the cloud for 2 more hours. Jack used that time to check. The ship, the fuel was low, the shields were damaged. The food supply was short. We need to land, Jack said. Where? There's an old mining station nearby. It's empty. We can fix the ship there. Is it safe? Jack looked at her. No place is safe, but I'll protect you. Varela nodded. She believed him now. He wasn't just a human. He was a fighter, a protector. The mining station was on a dead planet called Juno 9. It was cold and gray, with giant cracks across its surface. The station sat in one of those cracks, half-dash buried. Jack landed the Iron Sparrow inside an old docking bay. The lights flickered as the ship powered down. They stepped out, both wearing light suits to protect from the cold. Jack carried his rifle. Varela followed closely, holding a small toolkit. The station was quiet. Dust floated in the air. Old machines sat broken. Jack found a repair bay and started fixing the ship's engine. Varela watched, then said, "Can I help?" Jack looked at her. "You know anything about ships?" She smiled. "I'm a princess, not a baby. I've studied StarCraft." Jack chuckled. "All right, princess, hand me the fusion wrench." She passed him the tool. For a moment, they worked. Together in silence, then Varela asked, "Why are you helping me, really?" Jack stopped. He looked at her, his face serious. "A long time ago, I saw a little girl trapped in a war zone. I tried to save her, but I was too late. I promised myself I'd never let that happen again." Varela looked down. "You keep your promises." Jack nodded. "I try." Meanwhile, far away on the Zalari homeworld, Queen Zalara stood in her war room. Her generals spoke, but she didn't listen. All she saw was a hollow image of her daughter, smiling in an old photo. "Find her," she said softly. "Use every ship, every eye. Bring her back." Back on Juno 9, Jack and Varela rested in the ship while the repairs continued. The heaters hummed softly. Ella sat by the window, looking at the stars. "Do you miss your home?" she asked. Jack leaned back. "Earth, yeah. Sometimes what's it like?" Jack smiled. Blue skies, trees with green leaves, oceans. So big you can't see the end. Varela's eyes lit up. "Sounds beautiful." Jack nodded. It was. Humans messed it up. Wars. Greed. Now, Earth is just a story in old books. Do you have family? Jack's smile faded. Not anymore. Varela was quiet for a while. Then she said, "You can stay in Zalari after this. My mother will reward you." Jack shook his head. "I don't want gold. I just want to finish this right," Varela whispered. "You're not like other humans." Jack looked at her. "Most humans aren't what the galaxy thinks. We're not all monsters. Some of us, try to be better." The next day, while Jack worked on the ship, a strange noise echoed through the station. Beep, beep. Click. Jack froze. "Wait, stay behind me." He moved slowly down the hallway. Around the corner, he found a bounty hunter. A tall alien with 4 arms and dark blue skin stood near the wall, scanning something. He had a blaster on his hip and a tracker in his hand. Jack aimed his rifle. "Don't move." The alien turned slowly. Human. "I was hoping you'd come here. How did you find us?" The alien smiled. "Everyone's looking for the princess. 10 million credits. That's a lot of reason. He's under my protection." "I don't care." The alien reached for his blaster. Jack fired first. A stun bolt hit the alien in the chest. He dropped. Shaking, Jack dragged him into a locked room and sealed the door. Back at the ship, Varela looked worried. Was someone here? Just a bounty hunter? And more will come, won't they? Jack nodded. "Yes, we have to leave now." The engine was not fully repaired, but it worked enough to fly. As they took off, Jack said, "There's a wormhole. Path. It's old and unstable, but it leads near Zellari space. Is it dangerous?" Jack grinned. "Very." Varela looked at the stars. "Let's do it." As the ship flew toward the wormhole, alarms started again. 3 more enemy ships appeared behind them. Jack pushed the engine hard. The ship shook. "We can make it," he shouted. The wormhole appeared ahead, a swirling, a tunnel of blue and white light. The Iron Sparrow entered the wormhole just as the enemy fired a missile. Inside the wormhole, the ship spun. Lights blinked. Engine screamed. "Hold on!" Jack yelled. Varela screamed too, but with excitement, not fear. They came out the other side, close to Zellari space, but the ship was damaged badly. Smoke filled the cockpit. Power was failing. Jack slumped in his seat. "I think this is as far as I go." Varela grabbed the radio. "This is Princess Varela of the Zellari Empire. We need help. A human saved me. Please, someone hear me." She pressed the emergency beacon. Far away, a Zellari ship picked up the signal. A soldier ran to the Queen. "Your Majesty, Founder." Queen Zellari stood quickly. Her hands shook. "Prepare the rescue fleet." Now back on the Iron Sparrow. The lights flickered. Jack smiled weakly. "You did good, kid." Varela held his hand. "Don't die, please." Jack closed his eyes. "I'll try not to." Smoke filled the cockpit of the Iron Sparrow. Warning lights flashed red. The engine hummed weakly, struggling to stay alive. Jack Mason leaned back in his chair, breathing hard. His armor was scorched. His face was pale. But his hand was still. On the controls, beside him, Princess Varela gripped the emergency radio. "Please, this is Princess Varela. Human named Jack Mason saved me. We need help now." She looked at Jack. "Stay with me, please." Jack gave a small smile. "I'm not going anywhere. Not yet." The radio crackled, then a voice came through. "This is Zellari Fleet Ship Starspick. We hear you, Princess. Sending rescue. ETA. 8 hours?" Varela sighed in relief. "They're coming." Jack nodded slowly. "Good, that's good." Then he passed out. Varela panicked for a moment. Jack. She placed a medical patch on his chest. The small device scanned his heart, then injected a mild energy boost. Jack's eyes fluttered open. "I'm still here," he mumbled. "You scared me. Scaring people is my specialty," he said, trying to joke. But his voice was weak. Varela stood and looked around. The ship was in bad shape. Oxygen was dropping. The power core was failing. She took a deep breath. "I'll fix it." She ran to the engine room. It was dark and hot. Sparks flew from a broken cable. She grabbed a fire extinguisher and sprayed the flames. Then she opened the engine panel. The energy core was cracked. It needed cooling, or it would explode. "I need ice coolant," she whispered. Where would Jack keep it? She searched the storage room. Inside a metal box, she found old tools, a dirty water bottle, and a sealed coolant pack. Yes, good. She ran back and connected the coolant to the engine. The machine hissed, then settled. The heat dropped. The core calmed down. Lights returned. Power was back, just a little. She smiled. "I did it." Back in the cockpit, Jack opened his eyes again. The ship, it's running. Varela grinned. "I saved it." I raised an eyebrow. "Looks like I'm not the only hero on this ship." "You taught me to be brave," she said softly. Hours passed. Outside, the stars were quiet. The Iron Sparrow floated alone in space, like a broken bird waiting for rescue. Varela stayed awake. She kept checking the sensors and watching the radar. Then, something appeared. One small blip. Enemy ship. Inside the enemy ship, the bounty hunter Tharnjackal smiled. He had followed the signal. He saw the human ship drifting. "Easy prize," he muttered. 10 million credits, right there. He armed his weapons and moved closer. Varela saw it on the screen. One red dot. No friendly ships nearby. She woke. Jack quickly. "Jack, enemy ship." "Only one, but it's getting close." Jack sat up. pain in his chest. All right, we can do this. He looked at the control panel. Guns offline, shields at 10%. Engines, barely. He pointed to a small switch. Can you fly the ship while I handle power? I can try, Varela said. She sat in the pilot seat. Jack guided her. Easy, move left, no, softer. The enemy ship fired. A laser bolt hit the back of the Iron Sparrow. The ship shook. Varela gritted her teeth. Can't run. No, Jack said. But we can trap him. Jack opened a side panel and pulled out a strange device. Oh, this is an old Earth trick, EMP mine. Fry's electronics. He handed it to her. We fly straight. Let him follow. Then you drop this. Will it work? Jack grinned. It has. 2. The plan began. Varela flew straight, slow enough to keep the enemy close. The bounty hunter smiled. They're trying to escape. Weak little ship. He didn't see the mine float out from under the Sparrow. The EMP exploded. Boom. The enemy. Ship's lights flickered. His engines failed. Weapons shut down. Inside, Tharn shouted, No. What? Then silence back in the Sparrow. Jack cheered. It worked. Varela laughed. That was awesome. Jack looked at her with pride. You're a real pilot now. They hugged briefly, both shaking from relief. But the ship was still weak. Help was still hours away. As time passed, Jack grew weaker. The energy patch was fading. The wounds were deep. Varela tried to care for him, changing his bandages, giving him water, adjusting his seat. You're a good medic. You're a Tarot smile. You're a terrible patient, she replied. He chuckled. You're going to be a great queen someday. Varela's eyes softened. Only because of you. Finally, the radar beeped again. This time, it was a blue dot. Zell. Ari ships. The rescue fleet. Varela jumped up. They're here. They're really here. The lead ship came close. A voice came through the radio. This is Captain Trowell of the Starspick. Princess, stand by for docking. Minutes later, the Iron Sparrow was pulled into the docking bay of a massive golden ship. Zalari medics rushed in. They carried Jack on a floating bed. Varela ran beside him, holding his hand. A tall woman stepped forward. Her silver crown sparkled. Her violet skin glowed under the lights. Tears ran down her cheeks. Mother, Varela cried. Queen Zalera dropped to her knees and held her daughter. Tightly, my child. My star. You're alive. They cried together. Then the queen looked at Jack, her eyes filled with wonder and sorrow. This human saved me, Varela said. He risked everything. He's why I'm here. Queen Zalara stepped forward. She bowed her head deeply. Thank you, Jack Mason. You have done what no army could. You brought my daughter home. Jack smiled weakly. Just doing my job, Your Majesty. Then he closed his eyes. Jack Mason lay unconscious on a medical bed. His skin was pale and his armor was broken in many places. Soft machines beeped beside him. Zalari doctors worked around him, scanning and treating his wounds. Princess Varela stood outside the glass wall of the medical room, her small hands pressed against it. He saved me, she whispered to herself. Now I hope someone can save him. Behind her, tall footsteps echoed. Queen Zalara came closer, her long robe flowing like water. Her crown sparkled under the ship's white lights. Any change? She asked gently. Varela shook her head. He's still not waking up. The queen placed a hand on her daughter's shoulder. He will. Humans are stronger than they look. Varela looked up at her mother. He's more than strong. He's kind. He didn't have to help me. He chose to. The queen nodded. And because of that choice, I have you back. Later, in the ship's war room, Queen Zalera stood with her captains and generals. One of them spoke. We must send a message to the galaxy. A reward must be given. A warning must be sent to those who dared touch the royal line. Another added, and what of the human, Jack Mason? He is not part of our empire. Some think we should question his true reasons. The queen raised her hand. Her voice was cold. Enough. That human risked his life to save my daughter. He acted when others ran. He fought when others gave up. He is no enemy. He's a hero. There was silence. No one dared argue. The queen continued. When he wakes, we will honor him before the galaxy. Meanwhile, inside the medical room, Jack slowly opened his eyes. The lights above were too bright. His body ached all over. Where, am I? He whispered. A soft voice replied, You're safe, Jack. It was Varela. She stood beside him, holding a cup of water. He smiled weakly. Hey, kid, you made it, she said with tears in her eyes. We're on a royal ship. My mom is here. You saved me. Jack tried to sit up but groaned in pain. Easy, she said, helping him. The doctors say you need rest. I've rested enough for a year, Jack joked. Just then, the door opened. Queen Zalara entered. Jack slowly tried to sit straight. Your Majesty? The Queen walked up to him and bowed slightly. Jack Mason. On behalf of the Zelari Empire, I thank you. No words can match what you have done. Jack blinked. That's the first time royalty ever bowed to me. The Queen smiled. You earned it. 3 days later, a grand ceremony was held on the Zelari capital planet. A shining world of crystal towers, floating gardens, and silver skies. The galaxy watched through millions of screens. Leaders from many alien species were present. Reporters hovered in the air, recording every moment. At the center of the stage stood Queen Zalara. Beside her, Princess Varela wore a new royal dress, her head held high. Then, walking slowly on a cane, came Jack Mason. He wore clean armor, patched and polished. His face was tired but proud. The Queen raised her hand. Citizens of the stars. She spoke, her voice echoing across the sky. 3 weeks ago, my daughter was taken. Many failed to find her. But one man alone, outnumbered, and from a forgotten planet, risked everything to bring her home. The crowd was silent. She turned to Jack. Jack Mason, human of Earth. For your bravery, honor, and sacrifice, we name you Guardian of the Crown, the highest title in Zelari tradition. The audience erupted in cheers. Fireworks lit the sky. Drones flew above, painting Jack's image in glowing lights. Varela stood beside him and whispered, Told you they'd thank you. Jack whispered back, I liked it better when no one noticed me. Later that evening in the palace garden, Jack sat on a bench beside a quiet fountain. The stars above looked peaceful. Varela joined him with 2 cups of fruit drink. Here, she said. Try this. It's sweet. Jack took the cup. Thanks, Princess. You don't have to call me that, all right, kid? She giggled. Better. They sat quietly for a while, then Jack said, I'm thinking of going back to Earth. Looked sad. But Earth is empty, isn't it? Maybe, Jack said. Right. Maybe help rebuild. Will I ever see you again? Jack smiled. You're royalty. You'll be busy with peace meetings, lessons, guards. I can still send messages. Jack nodded. Yeah, and I'll answer everyone. Varela gave him a small hug. Like the big brother I never had. He patted her head. And you're braver than any soldier I ever met. But peace never lasts long in the galaxy. While Jack rested in the palace, far away in the dark side of space, the Void Raiders gathered again. Their leader, scarred alien named Krathvorn, slammed his hand on the table, that human embarrassed. Us. We lost the reward. We lost our base. He made fools of us. Another raider said. What do we do? Krath growled. We make him pay. We attack Earth. Let's see how the galaxy feels when the so-called hero watches his own world burn. Plan was made. Earth was their next target. Back at the palace, Jack stood near his ship. Ready to leave, Queen Zalara and Varela came to say goodbye. You could stay, the Queen said. Jack shook his head. I'm not made for crowns and gold. I'm just a soldier with a ship. Varela hugged him tightly. Be safe. I will. As he climbed into the Iron Sparrow, a message beeped on his screen. Incoming warning. Unknown ship spotted near Earth. Jack's eyes narrowed. He looked at Varela and then at the Queen. I think I'll delay my retirement, he said. There's one more mission left. Queen Zalara gave him a nod. Then go. Stand like a human. Jack smiled and flew into the stars once again. 12 dark warships came out of hyperspace like ghosts. They carried the skull symbol of the Void Raiders. And at the center of the fleet was a massive battleship, the Bloodfang, led by Krathvorn, the brutal warlord who had lost the princess. To a human, Krath stood on his bridge and growled, "Prepare the weapons, burn the planet, let the hero watch it fall." Far below, Earth spun slowly in space. Once a great home to billions, now only a few cities remained. Forests had grown over ruins, rivers had cleaned themselves, but humans still lived quiet, simple lives under old sky domes. In one such dome city, people looked up as the warning. Alarms rang. Children cried. Parents ran. Sky filled with red light. Everyone feared it was the end. But high above, a signal blinked through space. Incoming ship. Iron SPR, ROW Jack Mason sat in the pilot seat, staring at the screen. His jaw was tight. His old armor had new scratches. His ship was slow, but it still flew. He spoke to himself. They want to fight, they'll get one. He opened the Cumzellery command. This is Jack Mason. Earth is under attack. I need. Back up. Fast. Back on the Zalari homeworld, Queen Zalara received the message. Beside her stood Princess Varela, watching with fear. The Queen gave one order. Send the fleet. In space, Jack charged straight at the Void Raiders. The small Iron Sparrow weaved between warships like a bee among dragons. Enemy lasers missed by inches. Jack fired small missiles, damaging one engine here, disabling one shield there. Inside the Bloodfang, Krath roared. It's him, that cursed human. Destroy him. 3 ships chased Jack. His ship shook with each blast, but he was fast, clever, and bold. He flew into Earth's rings-an old minefield of metal, debris, and forgotten satellites. The enemy followed on hit traps. One ship exploded. Another got caught in magnetic web. Jack smiled. Still got it. On Earth, in the old command bunker, the mayor of Dome City shouted, "Who is that pilot?" "He's fighting alone," the young technician replied. "That's no pilot, sir. That's Jack Mason, the man who saved the Zalari princess." Back in space, Jack's ship took a hard hit. A warning light blinked. Fuel critical. Engines 35%. He spoke into his mic. "Vrilla, if you're hearing this. Your mom, I did my best." Suddenly a voice replied, "We hear you, Jack. You're not alone." It was Varela. And behind her came the Zalari royal fleet. Dozens of gold and silver ships dropped out of hyperspace. Their weapons glowed bright. The stars lit up with hope. Queen Zalara's voice came through. "Stand down, raiders, or face full destruction." Krathvorn laughed. "You think I fear you?" "My ship is a monster," Zalara answered coldly. "Then we slay monsters today." The battle began. Zalari fighters darted through enemy lines. Jack flew beside them, guiding them through Earth's orbit. Princess Varela stayed on the communication channel, helping coordinate the fleet. She knew the raider ship codes and weaknesses. "Target the Bloodfang's right wing," she shouted. "That's where its shield generator is." Fighters attacked as ordered. Boom. The side of the Bloodfang exploded. Krath screamed in rage, "That child again. I will crush her too." We turned the ship toward Earth, charging one last massive cannon. Jack saw it. He knew that weapon could destroy a city. He pushed his ship forward. "Come on, old bird," he whispered. One last run. He dodged lasers, flew under Krath's ship, and locked onto the main cannon. Then he did the unthinkable. He armed the self-destruct core of his own ship. "Goodbye, Iron Sparrow," he whispered. He aimed straight at the enemy. Cannon and hit the eject button. A small escape pod shot out. 1 second later, the Iron Sparrow crashed into the Bloodfang's cannon. Boom. A giant fireball lit the sky. The cannon was gone. The Bloodfang began to fall apart. Flames poured from its engines. Krath screamed in horror as his ship died. The rest of the raiders saw the end of their leader and ran. The battle was over. Earth was safe. Jack's escape pod landed near an old Earth city, now quiet with nature. People gathered around. He climbed out, coughing and sore, but alive. Children stared at him in awe. "You're the hero," one whispered. Jack nodded slowly. Just a human, doing his job. 3 days later, a large celebration was held on Earth, the first in many years. The people of Earth, the Zelari fleet, and even other alien leaders gathered. Jack stood on a stone platform in front of the old Earth flag. Queen Zalera stepped forward. "Jack Mason, you have saved 2 worlds. Once again, you stood alone when others were afraid. You are not just a soldier, you are a legend." Varela hugged him tight. "I told you you'd be famous." Jack smiled. "I liked it better when no one knew my name." They all laughed. The Queen raised her hand. "From this day, Earth shall be protected by the Zelari. No more forgotten world. No more silence. And Jack Mason shall forever be known as the Guardian of Stars." The crowd cheered later after the celebration. Jack stood near a green hill, watching the sunset. Varela came and stood beside him. "You could stay," she said. Jack looked at the trees, the sky, the wind. "This feels like home again," she smiled. "Made it safe again. For all of us." He looked at her. "And you, Princess, saved me more than once." They stood together in silence, 2 friends from different worlds, looking at the same. Skydet, then Jack said, "Let's make a promise." "What kind of promise?" "If the galaxy needs us again, we stand together." Varela nodded. "Always." Well, they shook hands. And the stars above watched as the human and the alien walked back to the city side by side.